Today we're going to turn things around. So I'll start with the modismo. So yesterday my brother told me that Barcelona lost 8-2, and so my response was, no manches. So no manches is the modismo for today. So when something really surprising happens, it's like an exclamation mark. No manches, Barcelona lost 8-2, or no manches, the dog ran that fast, or something like that. So no manches is just an exclamation when something weird happens or something strange happens, or something you're not believing, right? So no manches. Anyway, so what I want to do in this video is share two questions I was struggling with in the initial part of my gap year. So the first question really was whether I wanted to have eternal life. Now, the next day after I posed this question, I was really feeling down, right? I was really feeling lonely because the brothers were not there. I didn't have much to do. I was just sitting at home where I was living Tabor and reading, and I was really feeling lonely because I couldn't communicate with too many people. And so my question of whether I feel that I want to have eternal life that I posed the previous day really came back to mind, and I realized, you know what, if I don't have eternal life and if I don't have God, I'll just feel lonely all the time, because in God do you really have comfort and communion. In God and all the saints in heaven is where the fellowship really is. And so I realized without heaven I have no communion, no fellowship, and I'll probably feel like this for eternity. And so I figured, yeah, so it really slowly I realized that, yeah, I do want eternal life, I do want to go to heaven, and I'm going to do things to make that happen. So another thing I realized the next day itself was that my question itself was flawed, because heaven really doesn't have time. One would imagine that you'd be in eternity, but it's not like a series of days or years, but it's all time. In fact, it's beyond time. And so again, I realized that, okay, my question itself had some wrong presumptions. And so because one of my arguments was, am I going to spend all my time in heaven praising God? And my experience of it at times on earth was not the greatest. And so I figured, I can't do this all the time in the earth. How am I going to do it all the time in heaven? And that's when I realized, you know what, it's not going to be, there's not going to be time. And so it's going to be a much deeper thing, a much more spiritual thing than what our experience of communicating and praising God on earth is. And so yes, I do want to go to heaven, and I do want to experience God, and that's what I realized. Another question that I was struggling with is whether I have sinned. Now, I knew I have sinned, but it hadn't really impacted me, you know. I know I was doing something wrong, but I questioned whether I have sinned and whether I need grace and stuff like that. And slowly what happened is I realized that I have sinned, and I realized this in a very tangible way. I realized that the guilt you feel, that the conscience, that when your conscience pricks you, that really shows you that you've done something wrong, and that really is a sign that, you know, you have sinned and you have gone against God's purpose. And so I realized, you know what, this is sin, and I need to come back to God. I need to, bridge the gap in a way, and go back to God and make things right with God and say I'm sorry. And so I realized, yeah, I have sinned, and I have to say sorry, and I do want to go to heaven. And so these are a couple of the questions that I was dealing with initially, and then later on I was dealing with other questions, but I'll tell you that on another video. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and I'll see you next week.